Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your daily dose of zombies news from the game and its community here on Cod Zombies HQ. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've got a bit of an important show for you today, so let's kick things right off with our first story of the day. Now, I first heard about this story around a week ago, but I wasn't sure how widespread it was until recently, when it reached a crescendo of more and more players beginning to report serious issues when using both double weapon XP and double XP tokens within Black Ops Cold War Zombies, where seemingly as a result of using these tokens in-game on the actual player leveling side, players have noticed that sometimes they receive actually less than regular XP when having a double weapon XP token activated, with players reporting that in fairly long games of zombies, you can actually rank up in-game. It'll display in-game that you ranked up, but when you leave that game of zombies, the game will actually derank you a few levels down below what it already said you earned in-game. Now, a similar problem extends to actual weapon XP when using double weapon XP tokens, where more players are reporting a similar issue, where weapon levels earned in-game when playing zombies get deranked when you end up finishing your game. Now, these issues with double XP and double weapon XP tokens appear to not happen every single game. However, the issues of deranking and awarding less than regular XP seem to occur in a longer zombies matches. So if you're considering popping one of your double XP tokens and want to play a fairly lengthy zombies game, as a result of these issues, I'd say pump the brakes on that. Probably just hold off, save your tokens until Treyarch actually addresses this issue in the future. Next up, there's been a little bit of a stir in the Call of Duty community recently after an interview was released with Activision's chief revenue officer, who ended up talking about the future of Call of Duty. Now, I think some of the quotes you're about to hear have been misconstrued a little bit to mean something that they're not. The quote I'm referring to is this one here, where he says, "If you're asking if we'll play Cold War for 4 years, possibly. If it made sense for us, the player base supported it, and the viewership supported it." So there was a lot of interpretations from this quote that Treyarch and Activision may be thinking of supporting Cold War with new content for 4 more years, presumably with all new content for zombies and multiplayer throughout that time. But I think people are actually taking this quote far too literal. I think he's more so spitballing here, where this quote isn't necessarily referring to Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War content in general being supported for 4 years, but rather is referring to the supporting matches within the Call of Duty League for multiplayer. So while initially there was a lot of discussion about this quote, I think it's kind of a nothing burger when you look into it. Now, he did leave the door open for something similar like this in the future though, where he said, "But there could be a world where we stick with a single title for multiple years. We're not sold on any specific strategy there." So there could be a future where a Call of Duty game releases and is supported with content for several years after its release, rather than the constant release of new titles every year, where perhaps the first example of actual Call of Duty games going that route could end up being the Zombies standalone title that's been recently leaked to be in development, where if Zombies is going to end up being its own game, I can definitely see Activision and whichever studio ends up making that game supporting a Zombies only title with new Zombies content for years after its actual release, perhaps paving the way for main series Call of Duty games to go a similar route with its strictly multiplayer offerings. Next up, while playing Firebase Z and in the process of turning on the power, Reddit user Darklink1996 was glitched underneath the map to see something very familiar, where underneath the map on Firebase Z you can find a classic Zombies power switch from prior games just chilling there. Now, it's believed that this is here because the game actually ties the power turning on into the Zombies map, with the physical trigger on the map itself being represented by this power node. As explained by Reddit user Timerstone, after doing the 3 reactors, it flips the switch. Basically, they use that switch as the checker whether all 3 reactors are on, rather than connecting the power toggle directly on each reactor. That way, when one reactor gets turned off during the attack waves, it just switches the old power switch off. So a neat little remnant of prior Zombies games is in Firebase Z, but you've got to somehow get the game to glitch underneath the map in order to actually see it. Next up, Reddit user Thermac noticed that if you put dead wire on a melee weapon, press your character against the wall, you can get this weird effect to start playing on your screen. Now this effect seems to be related to the actual dead wire itself on the melee weapon that's always there but is usually just out of view from the player's perspective. Extending your FOV or glitching it by getting into weird situations like this could get it to appear, but it's a neat looking effect that if you see in your game, no, it's not an Easter egg, it just seems to be a visual bug. Next up, in a video posted by Reddit user Harry Wetwood, we get a rare look into an actually functioning public lobby here in Cod War Zombies, where Harry says this guy waited by the Ray K crafting table the entire game until I got the parts. This video sums up how he felt when I crafted it. Talk about a sore loser. For future reference, if you're crazy enough to pop into your own public game here in Cod War Zombies and you get into a similar situation where you find all the parts for the Ray K, but someone is waiting there at the crafting table to snatch it from you, the way you'll actually be able to get it before the other person does is by actually letting them craft the final Ray K, where because of a delay after they craft it, you're able to instantly grab it off the table while they're still stuck in an animation, letting you rub it into their faces as this guy does. Next up, if you're thinking of hopping into a zombies match soon, or you just want some zombies talk to chill and listen to throughout your day, I was recently a guest on the Activision Z podcast where we talked about a whole slew of topics relating to Cod War Zombies. If you're interested to know some of my extended opinions on the mode itself, where it's at right now, and where it'll go in the future, definitely consider checking out the full podcast, link down in the description. But the time has come for our grand finale, where this time the Rover is defying gravity, rocking a sick grind, and doing it in style until, as most of these Zombies vs. Outbreak vehicles clips end, it hits the imaginary jump pad and goes gonzo Alonzo bye-bye high in the sky, never to be seen again. But good job, Rover, that grind was sick. But wait, there's more. We're going double on this edition of Outbreak vs. Vehicles with a new vehicle we haven't seen in the series before, that being the Chopper Gunner, where Lurksy pops his Chopper Gunner on Golova, expecting to rain down fire on zombies from above, but instead the pilot clearly has other ideas, where he guides the chopper right through the ground itself and enters the other dimension, taking Lurksy along with him for the ride, whether he wants to be there or not. But yeah, we've seen these wacky Chopper Gunner route glitches on Die Maschine on Firebase Z. This is the first one I've seen on Outbreak. It's always fun to know whenever you use a Chopper Gunner, it's a little bit of a roll of the dice to determine whether or not you'll get a competent pilot. But guys, that wraps up the news today. I want to thank you so much for watching. Hey, if you did enjoy the video, consider hitting that thumbs up button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's always really fun just to be able to talk candidly about zombies topics, as I did recently on the Activision Z podcast. And yeah, I definitely recommend you check it out if you have some free time. Support what I consider to be the premier zombies podcast that's out right now. But hey, I want to thank you again for watching, but I'll see you with another Zombies news video tomorrow. Peace.